Welcome to the inaugural episode of Gregarious Chant. This is the first one, so you're getting in on the ground floor. For today's guest, I have my longtime buddy, good friend, former college roommate. We roomed together for 3 years, Clint Westbrook. He's a lawyer, a good Christian, good dude all around. I wanted to interview him, A, because he's my friend, and B, it gave me a chance to just grill him on what it means to be a lawyer, what it means to be a Christian lawyer, and just kind of interesting questions I have regarding conservatism, Christianity, and the law. In this episode, we start off talking about like religion, and we give each other a hard time about it. Again, we're buddies for a while, so even though we throw barbs at each other, no, it's all in jest and all in good fun. You'll see he's Protestant, I'm Catholic, and the usual attacks are thrown. But then about halfway through the episode, we start talking about law school, his law career, what he learned, what his thoughts are on various kind of criminal proceedings, and I asked some controversial questions about police officers towards the end, just to kind of get his understanding. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the episode. So this has been bugging me, and you're the type of person I can tell this to.
I'm ready.
So today is speaking of throat issues, the feast day of St. Blaise.
Mm-hmm.
So St. Blaise is the patron saint of people with throat illnesses, throat diseases.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Blaze, is that like Blaise Pascal, or Blaze like Blaze
of fire?
Thunder. Blaze, yeah, right.
Like Pascal.
Okay.
And I checked, not the same guy.
Okay. Just this mass confusion. It's Blaise Pascal.
I was like, yeah. Blaze. I wonder if it's Blaise Pascal, and
yeah,
it's not even close.
Same Blaise Pascal.
Yeah,
patron.
I feel like I should have known that.
Right.
And I did. I did know that it wasn't that. But so I go there because it's like whatever. I've had throat issues. I have a flexible schedule. I can go to mass middle of the day and get my throat blessed. And generally,
they do blessings based on who the saint is. So it's
not always.
Okay, all right.
It's not like every day there's a different blessing. For whatever reason, we do the St. Blaise one. It's tradition, something.
Yeah.
Last night or yesterday was Candlemas, which is also kind of a feast day. We don't really do a big deal with it in the United States, but it's like when you bless the candles. Next day, you take the candles, and generally you like place it on the throat, and you bless it with the blessed candles, and you ask
lit candles. Just
no,
you're just light. You're just
no.
Some kind of, no, okay.
No, they are not lit candles.
Not lit, yeah.
Just unlit candles, and then you put them on your throat, or the priest puts them on your throat and says, through the intercession of St. James, and blessing. So
not Blaze. I thought it was
Blaze.
Blaze. You said James.
Did I say James? Sorry, Blaze.
Yeah, Blaze. Yeah. Okay.
Blaze. And whatever. I've done it before. I can go to mass. I like it. It's a fun. I don't know much about it. I like it. I have throat issues. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
But I go, and normally how they do is they just have like 2 candles, and then they just make a little like cross out of it, and they just put it on your throat.
Yeah.
I go to this new church, and they have a special candle.
No, they formed it.
They formed it. It looks kind of like a skewer. Like a pitchfork.
There's 3. There's 3.
Not 3. Like a pitchfork, but you took the middle one out.
Right. Okay.
So you can just kind of like slide it in
to your throat meat.
Well, like so, like it looks like this, and it's just kind of like
right. A tuning fork.
Yes.
Blessing. Yeah.
For your throat and blessing, and I just hated it. Like it was like, I hate this. I hate that they did that. Just use the 2 candles like you were supposed to, and it just drove me nuts the entire mass. I lost all concentration.
I mean, the candle is sort of coddling your throat in a very sort of intimate way. Yeah.
It is. It is very intimate. It's very like, sensitive.
Yeah.
But like to just like, but the part that bothers me is like they formulated this special tool.
Yeah.
To like, well, we do this every year. We might as well buy the special candle for the blessing.
Yeah. Right. You're going to change the tires. You got to have the tool. I mean, right.
But like, that's my problem with is they turned a candle into a blessing tool. Like that was,
yeah.
Here's the thing. It doesn't work as a candle now. It's like, what is this? This is not.
Where are the wicks? Is the wick?
It's like, I don't know what happens when they meet.
But it's coming on either end?
Yes. Either end had a wick. So it's like, it's not a real candle. It's a blessing candle.
Right.
Thus making it not a candle. Like if you can't, like it's not. It was really bugging me that they just took this like what was supposed to be like this tradition of like this candle. Like it was supposed to just be you had 2 candles lying around. You did a blessing. It was great.
I mean, this would be the first time the Catholic Church has ever made something too much out of a tradition. Right.
No, it's not too much.
Indulgences or,
No. See, I knew you'd go there because you're Protestant, and that's all you think about.
It's just all it's ever been.
This is all you do. This is all you do.
Indulgences. You're selling salvation. I get it. This is
no. Yeah. You're zooming out. You're too quick. You're too quick to go to that punchline. All right. I'm all for we can criticize the Catholic Church, but don't go to the old favorites. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Okay. I got a new one for
something
you.
New.
I'm trying to give you a new one here. This is an interesting one. This is snatching this core. Okay.
Defeat from the jaws of victory.
Listen, I'm being Aristotelian right now. Okay. I'm about to give you a reason. Ready? Okay. By making this candle tool, they have changed the form so it is no longer a good candle.
Yeah. It's instead a good throat.
It's a good throat tool thing.
Right. Yeah.
Thus making it a terrible candle. Thus making it no longer a candle.
Yeah.
And that pissed me off.
Right. It's now entered a different form. I mean, when is a cup not a cup? When does it turn into a funnel? These are the timeless questions. Yeah.
Right. When does a candle turn into a throat blessing tool?
Right.
When you make it weird. When you make it weird. Yeah.
When you intentionally turn it.
Yeah.
So here, this is, I think I've told you this story, but I'll never forget because it was so intimate. Speaking of intimacy in the mouth region, I went to the Anglican church in Hillsdale.
Okay.
Went with friends, ready for communion.
Yeah.
Good Protestant communion.
Should you be taking Anglican communion?
Yeah, that's okay. That's
okay.
Right. Somehow I don't remember.
All right.
But it's like open to believers. So I think you have to be baptized. Maybe maybe that's not right. Catholics, I think. No, Anglicans can take Catholic communion. Catholics probably can't take Anglican.
I think it's a no either way for us.
Really? I thought Anglicans could. No, whatever.
No, I don't think so. It's a gray. It's a little bit of a gray area, but it's. I think it's a hard no because they don't have valid apostolic succession.
That's
succession.
Okay. Yeah. There was a separation, and then I thought there was like an invitation, but whatever.
I do. I mean, there is an invitation to reconcile, but it's not switch.
You can't just go for it.
Yeah. I don't think so. I don't know the specifics, but I don't think so.
But Catholics can only take Catholic communion.
Correct, and Eastern Orthodox.
Oh, okay.
Theirs is valid. I think it gets messy.
A lot of rules.
It's about apostolic succession. No, not secession. Succession.
Not about secession. That's
not secession. That's
right.
Succeeding, like continuous. Yes. Anyways, continue your story. Sorry.
But it's not about the Eucharist. It's not about the real presence.
It is about the Eucharist.
What does the real presence have to do with apostolic succession?
You can only do it through apostolic succession.
Because you've been
I can't do it. Like I can just like get some.
Yeah, right. But you're not. I mean, you could, in theory, just being a priest would allow you to do it, but you're only a priest because of succession.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm at the Anglican church, and feeling like I'm getting to figure. So I went, as you know, I went to a lot of different kinds of services in college. Catholic, had Catholic friends. Anglican.
Right. You church shopped.
Yeah, Orthodox, Presbyterian. We're allowed to do that when you can do that when you're Protestant. So I'm going all over the place.
Okay.
Learning about
Orthodox. You're Orthodox Presbyterian.
Well, no, I went to a OPC church. I didn't convert or whatever. But the Catholic X-Men thing. Blessing.
Yeah, that's what we call it, the X-Men thing.
Yeah. It's a formal name. It's in the catechism. Yeah. So I go to the Anglican church and I go to the front. I kneel down. Protestant, good evangelical church. You kind of pass the communion plate. You take your little piece of bread and your little cup, and it's all good. Very it's little.
Just a symbol, so you guys just kind of toss it.
It's just symbolic. So Anglican church, you're up at the altar, kneeling. Priest comes by, pastor, and dips the wafer, gives it to you.
Yeah, intinction is what it's called.
Intinction. He intincts.
Yeah. I don't know if they call it that in Anglican.
I don't think No, maybe just drank out of the cup. This was pre-COVID. I mean, this is anything goes.
The good days.
So I don't know how to take a wafer out of a person's hand.
No, it's
I've
tricky.
never done this.
Yeah.
And here, so the wafer comes, he gives it to me, and I licked his fingers.
I've had that.
It's like fingertips. I could distinctly remember
it's
that.
Salty, right? It's so.
And he kind of went like, tried to toss it.
Yeah,
and it
they do like a little like a little peck. Yeah,
it's like it probably takes years to get right, but it didn't work. I still got some fingertip.
It happens, Clint. I don't know.
It happens. That's good. I really felt like I was the first one who's ever done that. I mean,
it's happened to me.
Okay.
It's just unfortunate. It's really uncomfortable. It's actually
you can blame that's like workplace hazard. He's got to be.
Yeah. It's a very traditional thing to do.
Yeah.
It's Mairead, my fiance, very traditional Catholic.
Yeah.
And like she grew up only going to Latin Mass, like.
Yeah. Hardcore.
And that's how they do all of their communion is on your knees, and they do it. So like the whole like receiving thing.
It's an intinction, or it's a cup past the cup.
No, it's not. It's you go up to the altar. There's like a railing around it. Oftentimes, you kneel, and he goes around, and he just passes it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if they do wine. I've only ever been to Latin Mass in COVID times, so
right.
I couldn't tell you.
What are they doing with it? What are the Catholics doing with the Eucharist during COVID?
Still.
Yeah, but is it?
We don't do wine anymore.
How do you? What do you do?
Just bread.
No wine.
No wine.
Wow.
You don't have to do both.
Okay. Do they?
I mean, like the priest still has the wine. It's up. They're both up there,
right.
But for the masses, the congregation, it's just bread.
Does he hand you the bread?
Yes, they are discouraging people from taking it on the tongue.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wow.
I mean, no one's at Mass anyways, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I went today, only person under 40. It was
really.
Yeah.
That's kind of surprising. I mean, that's like I guess we're all sort of woke, so maybe the older generation's a little more often,
I don't know.
Party.
I don't know. Sad.
Would you like to see my dog?
Piper?
In this. Do you want me to show? Do you want?
I see Piper. She's back.
The dog's here. She's going to be distracting.
Over your left shoulder.
Can I?
I mean, she doesn't bark. I don't care.
She's back here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, that bothered me today. You've no longer ruined the candle blessing because it's a failure to understand.
Yeah.
And it's not. Don't put this on Catholicism. This is some idiot pastor. All right.
But there's not.
And we've got plenty of those. Don't get me wrong, but
but the candle blessing itself. I mean, that is a Catholic.
Yeah,
it's like if it goes sideways, if they hadn't done it in the first place, I wouldn't. I've never been blessed by candles.
You're right.
To be fair,
if you've never had to throat blessed, I suppose it can't go wrong to begin with if you never did it. I suppose, like you can't die skiing if you never ski.
You can't, right? Nope, can't break your leg. But the Protestants have their own version of sort of mysticism. I was at a small church, very charismatic, spiritual gifts.
Yeah, I was about to say you got Pentecostals, baby. All right,
Pentecostals.
I don't want to hear it.
Some of the guys.
I've seen videos on YouTube. I've seen like there's like snakes at your churches sometimes.
Well, that's not.
I've seen those videos. All right, people will be like, "Oh, Catholics are weird." It's like, yeah, we don't have a boa constrictor. Okay, like I don't.
I'm not sure that's even.
My priest doesn't go around and like hit people in the head with a Bible, casting out demons. Which
so that
works good, but like it's
right. That's a pretty common. Yeah. Well,
how many snakes does your church own?
No snakes. Never had a snake. Never been at a snake service. I've been at services with a shofar, the horn.
Oh,
do you know about this?
No, I don't know what that is.
There's a ram's horn. I don't actually know the history.
Okay.
Maybe back to like Marching on Jericho.
Yeah, I was about to say strikes me like a Hebrew thing.
Yeah. But maybe it has to do with Passover. I don't remember exactly, but it's a ram's horn, a hollowed out ram's horn,
Right.
and you blow it like during parts of worship,
Okay.
and it's very loud. I've been to those services. There's flags at some services.
Flags.
People wave flags. It's called flag worship.
American flags?
Well, maybe, but not mostly. It's mostly like
white?
kind of ribbons, more ribbons, kind of
as like a form of. I don't.
It's like it's like a probably somehow related to the shofar kind of celebration, kind of thing.
Yeah. So like I would say, yeah, like I'm not like it's religion. There's gonna be it's like I'm gonna say kooky in a non-insulting way. Like we've got Catholicism has its kookiness too. Or I'm saying.
Yeah, is that a non-insulting? What is the?
I don't know what you know what I mean. The mysticism, fine, mysticism. All right.
Yeah, right.
I would just say that like Catholicism is older, so I like that more.
Yeah,
it harkens back, where I feel like the flag thing's probably newer, and that's not a judgment. I'm not. I know it sounds like I'm trying to be like it's older, but like no,
that is what it sounds like.
I know. I'm not trying to be that way though.
That's a very Catholic version of like, oh, Peter was the first pope, and it's like, but I mean, that's a certain reading of history. It's like,
are you saying he's the second?
No, I'm saying,
fourth?
No, I'm saying like,
which
at what point did he become? What point did the Catholic Church become the Catholic Church as opposed to just the church?
Right.
I don't know the answer to that. It's not a rhetorical question.
Right. I mean, at some point it goes from like church fathers, patristics, and then it kind of forms. You mean by the time here's the part where I always get, it's like Martin Luther clearly broke away from an established Catholic Church, though.
Right.
So to go to like I presume those are non-denominational type of services, would be to like you're going further back than Luther, I guess is my point. Is like because if Luther like splintered off, it would theoretically, assuming nothing else changed, the services would look 1492-ish, right?
Right. That was Columbus sailed the ocean blue. I think that was
same year, I believe. 1492. 1492. It was ocean blue. The Spaniards drove the Moors out of Spain, and I think Martin Luther did it. He nailed it on the door. I believe it's all three. It's a very important year. I recall it being an important year.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, do it. I think
it was 1517. I knew it was at 1500s.
I was even close. Oh, come on!
No,
what else happened in 1492? 1492.
You were like 25 years off.
30 years off.
Like, yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I mean, it's a catchy date. Don't get me wrong. But
other things happen on 1492. Arise, Columbus. It's all Columbus.
You're gonna have a hard time finding. Yeah, you're gonna have to dig pretty deep.
Oh, the Reconquista. So I was right about that. They did drive the Moors out of Spain.
Okay.
And then they discovered America. Okay, I was wrong about Martin Luther, but I was right about the other one. Dang.
Yeah.
It would have been really nice if all three of them had Dang. I learned
first 1517.
First episode, and I make a huge blunder.
Yeah. Well, you're not Lutheran. You're not.
That's true. So. That's a bad day in my.
If I had been like 1492, and then I looked it up, it was like, and then everybody's like, wait a minute, that's
more. That's a more important day for you.
Yeah.
More
I gotta know that.
Yeah.
Also, how many theses?
90 some. 95.
95. Yeah, not 99. It does feel like it would be 99, but it was 95.
Why 95?
I don't know. It's a lot. It's a good number, I guess.
Yeah. But anyways, I guess with a lot of like non-denominational churches, it's not just a rejection of like Catholicism. It's also Luther, probably Calvin on some level too. He was somewhat traditional, right? Once you start getting out there, I start getting.
Oh yeah. I mean, Luther, Calvin, Zwingli were all in that region, time, era. Yeah. But I don't know that I would say non-denom is a rejection of any of those major doctrines. I mean, it's more like a rejection of the hierarchy,
Sure. Yeah, but I guess like, I don't know. To me, it seems like if Luther wasn't that far, I don't know. It just seems like it's an attempt to go back. So that was 1500s, 1,000 years essentially. Right. It seems like the goal is to go back to like the founding era, not the founding era, that's America, but like, that kind of like church founders, church fathers.
Early church.
Early church. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like 100 years after Christ type of.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So
Not structured, more.
Do you guys take Augustine to sound Protestant?
I'm so used to Augustine now.
Oh, you are.
I would say the non-denom is also not as focused on church history, so
Right.
you're not going to get as much talk. Yeah,
but like, there's also seems like, what about like Thomas?
Yeah, I mean, if there's just not a lot of, I mean, this is probably true in the Catholic Church too. There's not a lot of literacy around that kind of. Like nobody's. It's not like most people go to the church library and get Thomas and Augustine and read the Summa. It's just not. If that's a more like we read it because we went to school.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe your family's right. Like
no, my family hasn't read it.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Yeah, but like I would say.
But no, they're not going to read it and go, oh, Augustine had it wrong. Like, no,
that's true.
That's not going to. Yeah.
But like, I would hope the ministers are reading it though. Like,
yeah,
right? Like, I mean, they are seminal figures in Christendom.
And yeah. I mean, anyone who goes to seminary is going to read all that stuff. But day to day, it doesn't typically help.
Your average churchgoer isn't. Like, I still haven't made it through confessions. It's just.
Yeah, I mean, or even assume. I mean, that you can't.
Oh, assume it too. Yeah. It's. I mean, I know portions of it, but I've never gone all the way through. I just don't know. Like, obviously, the Catholic Church is all about them, right? We own them. We bring them in. I don't know how much Protestantism includes them in the history or in the like philosophy and all and the theology of it. Yeah. Because with Thomas, I can understand being questionable, but Augustine is early enough that I don't. It's still kind of it's in there. Or like
I think
I don't know. There's a lot of church fathers. Who are they? I can't think of any of them. Dang it, I can't remember. Christendom, yeah.
I mean, the major thing for Protestant is going to be sola fide, sola gratia, sola scriptura. So you're not the tradition isn't in that list. So it's like,
what about reason?
Faith. Yeah, I mean, I think it's.
Here's a question. Sola fide could, and this is a question I don't have an answer to. It's not it's not a loaded question. Yeah. Right. It's because I don't. Obviously, as a Catholic, I'm not. Am I sola fide? I don't know. It's could God be at odds with reason?
Fide is faith, isn't it?
Right. Fide, and then it's ratio for reason. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So like Catholicism is faith and reason, right? So because if you go only faith, you become kind of fundamentalist almost. I think Islam has this thing where it's very possible for God to supersede reason. So it's possible for reason and God to be at odds, and that's okay because God is over reason. And then you have like reason over faith, and you get kind of like materialism there. So where does Protestantism kind of fall with that? Because I do think there are issues with reason all the way or like faith all the way, or not.
Well,
faith, you know what I mean, like revelation all the way, maybe.
Yeah, it's faith. It's faith in reaction to works, not faith in reaction to reason.
Well, that's what I'm asking for reason, though. I understand it with works, but that's on salvation. I want to understand it with like the philosophy and theology behind it.
Yeah. And when you say reason, you mean like rationality? Like, can we arrive?
Like Thomas's 5 proofs.
I don't think the Protestant is going to say God can be contrary to reason.
Okay.
Well, I shouldn't even say the Protestant. I don't know. This is just me.
Right. I mean, it's so yeah.
So I don't think God can be contrary to reason. There's this like, can God create an object so heavy he can't move?
Yeah, but that's not. That to me, that's verbal gymnastics, and it's like, can God create a color that's blue and square? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah. Right.
Like I can make nonsense sentences too. Like it's not.
Yeah.
That to me.
So I don't know. I don't know what an example would be of being contrary to reason. I think he can be outside of understanding.
Sure. Obviously he is.
Yeah. And so if you wanted to say reason is defined as sort of the limits of human understanding and rationality, then yeah, he can be outside of that. But
Yeah,
is
I don't
but
know if that's
contrary to, I'm not sure what that.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm trying to find like I just know that that's a thing of Islam. I can't actually know what their point is about it.
Yeah,
It's
I haven't heard that.
it's one of Thomas's Muslim contemporaries, Avencinos. I don't know.
Yeah, not familiar.
They had that. It's a heresy. I was wondering. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, but like we said, I think the Catholics do mystery better than the Protestants do. I mean,
I find that
I think,
interesting that you say that,
yeah,
because
yeah,
all of the Catholicism I read is very Thomistic based. Like
right,
he's the Catholic theologian. Like it's all kind of
right,
based on him. And obviously the guy himself is mysterious. Like, not, you know what I mean? Like he has
yeah,
a revelation near the end of his life, and he quits
yeah,
writing. Like, but part of the reason I like Catholicism so much is how like it's just like natural law hits it
right,
hard. Like
right. But you can't. But the Eucharist,
sure,
transubstantiation is contrary to natural law. I mean, it doesn't.
sure, or actually it's
Or
not, because it's
count.
he explains it Aristotelianly with like the whole accident. I can't explain it. I'm not going to try. I'll butcher it. I'll straight up butcher it. It'd be like asking me to define the Trinity. I can't do it. I don't.
Yeah, right,
I'll
right.
butcher it.
But there is an acceptance of the limitation of the
Yes,
of the ability to
right.
explain.
He
Right.
explains it's possible using like essence and accidents and all matter, all that, all the buzzwords.
Yeah. Right.
Whether or not it actually happens is faith. Same with the Trinity.
Right.
Thomas will say the Trinity cannot be explained via reason. So
Right.
yeah.
I think, and so that's where you have to say, I think, if reason is just an exploration of the bounds of human understanding,
Right.
then yeah, any faith goes beyond reason. But
see, I would agree.
But if it's the contrary, I mean, if you're saying, because I can't make sense of the Eucharist, I can't reason my way of how this physical thing becomes flesh and blood when it isn't,
right,
like according to tests, therefore it's contrary to reason. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think it's very interesting because I'd never. I'm just reading a book about Thomas right now, and they brought it up, and it never crossed my mind that argument that like, and it's a heresy, so I it's bad, but like the fact that like God can be at odds with reason.
Yeah.
Islam believes that God supersedes, maybe the wrong word, but like God, like in general, God and reason do not have to be in sync, right?
I mean, I think it's probably because of logos.
Right. Well, exactly. Right. That's
like in the beginning, God was logo. So
right.
that was the logo. So right, isn't that what it is? In the beginning was the logo.
Yeah, that's
so I don't.
John. Yeah.
Right. So I don't think. I think it's probably heresy because that if reason is
right, it goes against the theology, like the spiritual
order and yeah.
But like I don't know. It was a new thought I'd never cropped into my head. They're like, yeah, I suppose if we did believe in an all-powerful God, if we didn't have the Bible, it would make sense that like theoretically, he doesn't have to play by reason's rules.
Yeah, right.
Anyways, all right. I thought it was, and then so yeah, that was my mass experience. Anyways, with the candle, I was like,
the candle, yeah.
It bothered me because it no longer became a candle. So you're no longer blessing with the candle; you're blessing with the tool for blessing.
Right.
And it was just like this is. I have this thing now where like I'm just against like this efficiency thing we have going on. So like here's what happened. I hated that because it's like you've made it so efficient to the point that it's lost its original thing. It's the original tradition. And then to like torture myself more today, I went to Red Robin, which I would argue is a similar thing, right? It's Red Robin is not a burger joint. It is an efficient, I don't even know, like food entity that masquerades itself as a burger joint.
Yeah, right. It's a fast food restaurant where you can sit down and they have a lot more burgers.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, I have no problem with McDonald's. I know what they are. They're fast food.
Yeah.
There's no deception there. Red Robin.
They're doing their thing.
it's like, no, we're a burger joint and we're cool and we're hip. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
there's like John Mayer playing, and it's like, I know what this is. Like, this isn't.
Yeah.
This is what you think a burger joint is. So
That's right. Yeah. The
it's
classic kind of Johnny Rocket
yeah.
thing. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's very
Well, and
much,
there's even, so the food is not very, it's not good.
it's not
So
that
it's
good.
not like high quality, fresh, the
No.
fresh fries or something. It's like
Yeah.
very subpar food at
Yes.
burger joint prices. Yeah.
Yes.
Nothing to like about Red Robin.
Right.
You're
But
not going to get Red Robin to sponsor this
I lost them
show.
as a sponsor.
That's not going to happen. They're out.
And whoever makes that candle is probably also not going to be.
Yeah, they're pissed. They're like, we like it. It's fine.
It's a fun candle.
It's a candle. What's the problem?
It's not a candle anymore. You can't use it as a candle.
Yeah, right.
I maintain it's
Don't call it a candle. It's a wax sculpture.
blessing tool. Yeah.
Right.
You've robbed it of its candleness.
Red Robin, candle maker, both contributing to the decline of society.
Yeah.
That's clear. That's clear to me.
But to me, it's just part of that, like, we're going to get so efficient, we're going to rob it of its authenticity.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy.
What's the, okay, I went to in Paris, right? Teaching English in France. I'm in Paris. Go to the Notre Dame Cathedral.
Sure. I've been there.
Relics.
Sure.
There's the skulls and the bones and all that kind of stuff.
You're gonna ask me a question I probably don't know the answer to.
Well, I want to get, what is it? I want to get at the authentic. What is it? What is the root of authenticity in the Catholic? I'll call object-based faith experience.
I guess what I think of authenticity is like, it's the tradition of it, right? It's why like if you get mad at getting a fake tree for Christmas, I understand it.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of like that. It's like, we're getting too good at it that we're robbing it of what it originally meant.
It's K-cups. It's Keurig.
Yeah. To me, it's more a indictment on capitalism. I say this as a master, like as a lover of capitalism, but it's maybe I'll call it consumerism. It's very consumeristic of me, of me to like, it's like peak consumerism. Like, we'll make a candle for the blessing and we'll sell it for $15.99. Like like, I know they bought that on a Catholic website for $20 and they thought it was a good idea. And they didn't realize that it's robbing it of meaning. It's robbing it of the tradition. Like, again, it's productized, right?
Yeah,
it's a productized tool instead of just using a candle.
I think my church felt this because we meet in person masked.
Yeah.
And for a while have you ever seen these self-contained communion cups? Maybe this isn't a thing in
definitely not a thing in Catholicism, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, little cup, juice, sealed once, wafer, sealed again. So you peel back, you get the wafer, peel back again, you get the
That's
wine.
Wild. Is it so? It looked like a K-cup probably?
Yeah, it's small. I mean, it looks like a communion cup. Have you ever seen a communion cup?
I don't know what a communion cup is.
Yeah, okay. So it's like a small clear Dixie cup.
Okay.
Yeah, plastic,
almost like those little like creamers for like coffee.
Yeah. But it's clear. It's shaped. It's got a nice shape.
Okay.
So you seal that. You put the wafer in. You seal it again. It's like the yogurt that you dump.
Yes. Okay.
Comes with the granola. Yeah.
Love those. Yeah.
Right. Same idea. So they sell these things. I think they're like $2 each. They're like, this is expensive. Yeah, they're expensive. So my church makes the switch during COVID. Hey,
how do you feel about that?
Bring
that was made in a factory. How do you feel about that?
Yeah,
your
right.
symbol was mass produced.
Right. There it is.
Yeah.
So I think my church felt that same thing, because then they switched to homemade bread or handmade bread and wine in these like little cups that they handed out.
Right.
And so you're still avoiding the kind of communal, you're not all ripping off a piece of bread or whatever.
Sure.
But the authenticity went way up. It was like,
there's something
Amy and I are sitting there breaking bread, and you can't, that's real.
There's something to like, there's I don't know, is it what it's called? Like, there's a design term called like form follows function.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's very sleek, it's very minimalist. It's the only thing you do is just for it to get the thing done. And I don't like it. I don't know what it is overall, but there's something about it that just, it's hollow, it's cold, It lacks warmth. It lacks
Yep.
soul. I don't know. It's something about it's just
Yeah.
unsettling.
It's the difference between utilitarianism and aestheticism
Yes.
and a loss of the beautiful. That right? It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's straight utilitarianism and not
right.
But like, I mean, I would argue that beauty has utility. So like, even then, I don't.
Oh,
I struggle with utilitarianism because I personally everything could fall under it. Like, I don't.
this is the throwback conversation. This
We've
is the
had this
utility.
conversation before. Yeah.
I hate it. This is my least favorite conversation.
I have so many of these where like people will tell me it's a tautology, and it's like, yeah, but it's just how it is.
Yeah.
Like I have this feeling about like capitalism and markets. I'm like, markets will always be. They're always around. Anytime, like it's like you can't get rid of markets. They're just around. And then it's like no, like it's just I don't even know what to call them. But it's like, yeah, anything can be. Yeah, utility is subjective, so it's anything.
This is.
And then I just like
shouting matches in our past about the overly broad definition of utility. Everything is utility. You can't get out of it.
It's subjective. Yeah. It's whatever you want it to be. Like I don't know what you want from me, man.
Okay, here this.
Yeah, all right. I want to talk about law school.
Great.
It's a great segue.
Oh,
you went to law school.
Seamless. Yeah.
What is law school like? Because so here, let me preface it.
Okay.
Obviously, we went to Hillsdale together. I know what Hillsdale's like.
Yeah.
I went and got a master's degree in economics. That was easier than Hillsdale. Hillsdale was tough, and also I went to a not very good program. It worked out. I got the credential.
Not getting sponsored by
Central Michigan University.
So, yeah.
Who's losing these sponsors? Raytheon, though. Raytheon might get on this.
That's the one you want, I think.
Come on, Halliburton. Dick Cheney. I love Dick Cheney. Yeah. So what you went Michigan State University, graduated top of your class, valedictorian?
No, he's not really valedictorian, but close to the top. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
Well, there's just no valedictorian.
What rank did you get? You guys are ranked. I know that's a thing in law school.
I think I was third, maybe.
Third
in the class.
Not even.
I got married. My second. First summer. And it's all just downhill from there.
Michigan State's top 25 program, top 15.
No, it's top 100. It's not
top 100. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's a lot of
University of Michigan is higher ranked. I hate to say, but
right. Well, yeah, it's the second best one in the state of Michigan, though.
Yeah.
Right. And probably one of the better ones in the Midwest, aside from Michigan. Probably, anyways, so what was it harder or easier than Hillsdale?
It was easier.
Okay.
Because it's more predictable. Like you can figure out how to do law school. Maybe you can figure out how to do college at Hillsdale too, but I mean it's hard.
Yeah.
Especially because you're going there, you're young, never lived out. You can't, I go back and read my papers from like freshman year, and it's just embarrassing.
Yeah.
So law school is you have 3 or 4 classes in a semester, 1 exam at the end of the year at the end of the semester for most classes.
Is that your only grade?
Only grade, yeah. Sometimes a midterm is like 20% of your grade, and then you have 80%. But
so there's no like writing papers.
No, there's like a research and writing class where you write papers and they get graded. But most of your core classes, most of your like lectures are 1 grade. So you have to keep up on reading. You have study groups to work through like example problems that might be on the exams. But at the end of the day, there's 1 test to prepare for, and you have to be preparing for it the entire semester.
Okay.
So and it's all on a curve. So you just have to beat your classmates. And so I think it's you can sort of learn how to do law school.
What happens to those bad students?
Well, a good portion drop out after the first year.
Do they get their money back? What's that?
No, I don't think. Well, you pay by the semester, I guess. So
I think that to me is wild. Like you're entering an endeavor knowing that if you don't beat 60% of your classmates, you're probably not going to get a job.
Yeah, or really, yeah, really crappy job, or not, not immediately in the law,
Right.
or maybe you don't pass the bar.
Yeah.
Maybe you do. Yeah.
And it's what, like $100,000 for a whole law school?
I believe it was about 18,000 a semester.
Okay.
For 6 semesters. So
over $100,000. Yeah.
Yeah. But good scholarships. I mean,
yeah. I'm not saying that's what you paid. I'm just saying generally. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
wild.
but so you're studying in a very specific way for every class.
Yeah.
Whereas at Hillsdale, it's like, or at any college probably, it's like, okay, if for this class, it's a lit class, so I'm reading and writing, and this class is philosophy, so I have to get ready for the conversation. Yeah. And you have different exam schedules, and you're in science, and you're in right. So it's like, it's healthy. Liberal arts, like, it's good, but it's much harder to sort of figure out than law school. And I mean, for the most part, all law schools operate that same way.
Right.
There's tons of resources about how to do it well.
Sure.
Some class participation stuff.
Okay.
But it's like
Socratic, right?
Yeah.
They yell at you.
Sometimes,
and then they make you kill yourself with hemlocks at the end, right? How it goes.
Yeah, very Socratic. Directly.
Yeah.
It's just yeah. I mean, as Socratic as it gets, it's hemlock and.
Is that what happens to the students that fail? Is they drink hemlock?
I mean, some of them.
You
maybe.
guys vote, and he's like, "Well, I'm going to stand by my principles," and you down it.
And then they got to go. Yeah, I mean,
that's a hell of a curve. That's a curve.
Yeah, that's attrition on a whole other level. Yeah. It's challenging. I mean, and I don't know. I think some people realize they don't want to do it. Some people. I was really surprised because you show up to law school, you're like, everybody's going to be serious. This is a big deal. And then on a Monday, people be like, it's like the same. Oh, I can't. This weekend was crazy. We burned couches, and it was like, what? I thought this was.
Yeah.
I thought we were past this.
Well, you also finished third. That's.
Yeah.
You're at. Yeah. Can I? So here, I'm gonna psychologize you for a second.
Great.
Which is insulting, but it's fun to do. Since I started talking about law school, your whole demeanor changed. Do you hate law school? Like you've gotten serious. You went into serious Clint mode. Like what? Like, do you have bad memories for it? Like, do you have like?
No, I love law school.
Really?
Yeah.
You say in the most monotone phrasing I've ever. No, I love law school. Like what? Like.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it was because you asked me a direct question.
Okay. Sorry.
It's probably interview mode.
Sorry.
No,
get out of interview mode, man.
I did. I loved law school. I mean, if I could go back, I would.
Really?
I loved
what did you love about it? Like, it's not like you're cramming for one test for 4 months or whatever. You get to actually like think about the foundations of law. So it's so like in every class, like contracts, crim law, civil procedure, whatever, you start back in like the 1800s and you see how the law before then sometimes, and you see how the law progresses to where it is today, so that you can understand like the theory and the history. And like, so your property class, for example, you're reading cases. So they used to like to transfer property, they used to take a handful of dirt and like hand it to the next, like, I'm giving you like you have to physically give them the dirt to transfer. Like that was the deed. It was like this thing. We should still do that. Going back to the lack of efficient, like we've gotten too efficient these days. We need to go back.
Yeah, very symbolic, very serious. But you got to like actually think about that. I mean, I studied philosophy in college, so it was like, okay, the foundations of law. And I think it because you can figure out how to do law school,
okay. So you said that phrase, figure it out. What does figure it out mean? Like, your schedule on how to read it, like, is it one of those things where it's like you get to know, like, 'cause at Hillsdale, I remember like I took 4 classes with Dr. Steele, and by the 4th class, I could read the man's mind. I knew what questions were
Right.
going to be on that final. Is it like that, where
Okay.
you can kind of figure out like, oh, I'm reading this case brief. I assume you read case briefs. For sure, this one's going to be on there.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So the tests at the end of the semester, every subject's the same way. It's you read a set of facts and you say what the issues are, and then how like a court would decide the issues.
Okay.
So, um, uh, an example would be like for torts, for example, like personal injury.
Right.
Here's like this crazy set of facts. Person A does this to person B, person C to D, and like and there's a company and there's employees, and so you analyze the entire thing based on what you've learned from the entire semester about what torts happened.
Okay.
And then you say, here's the claim they would make. What would the court do?
Gotcha. So it's like
in this
systems.
situation?
You learn the system.
Yeah. Right.
You learn to spot the like, well, this goes over here and this goes over here. That
Right.
Gotcha.
Right. It's called issue spotting is what it's called.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So then sometimes you miss certain issues, like my first criminal law class, I missed accomplice liability. It was a fact pattern based on Harry Potter, and I missed that Harry and Ron working together would give rise to an accomplice liability charge. Right. So it's like I missed it.
It's obvious.
I got an A minus. I know. I was pissed. So
Harry Potter's from the devil, so it's fine.
Yeah, well, right. And I thought I'm not going to take this. I need an accommodation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can figure out like, so throughout the semester you're reading cases, and then they have these accompanying called like horn books, or practice exams. What do I call them? Examples and explanations. So it's all based on fact patterns. Right. So they have that, and then they have like sample questions that you can work through. So once you figure out how to do that, and you don't miss issues, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like learning how to take the LSAT or something. It's a skill you can acquire. Yeah.
Okay, and that's just all of law school, and just applying that to different parts of the law.
Pretty much, yeah. And then research and writing.
Okay, and that didn't get boring at all. Like I would think that'd get boring. I think that'd get no.
No, it was great. I loved it. I mean, it was like because it's like you're reading, because you read cases, right? And so it's like you read a bunch of cases about crazy contracts, and you read cases about
there's the steamboat one.
Yeah, right, or the railroad case, and it's like what does that mean? So yeah, every new class is a new like major component of how the law works, and that's great.
And you ate it up. You ate it up so much that you went and like you got the big law firm job afterwards.
I did. Yeah.
Then you quit it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
was the disconnect? So like that's part of like what I think is interesting is that you loved law school. You do actually love it. I can tell. Yeah. But then like your action is, I'm gonna go for the big law firm, probably make bank, which is great. And then you quit 2 years in?
Yeah.
3?
Yeah, 2.5. But 2.5, yeah, 3 years.
2.5, yeah. So I mean, obviously, learning something and then practicing it are different, right? Like
right.
Like I'm a master's degree in economics. I've never practiced economics, mostly because you need a PhD, and I don't. No,
nobody wants to do that. Yeah,
and they don't actually practice economics either. Anyways, they just make it up.
Well, send us to James Bannon. It's our PhD.
He would probably agree. He's a behavioral economist.
Right.
They're different. So like what is that disconnect? Because I think that like law school is often seen as like everybody's backup. Not a backup, but I could always just go to law school, right? I feel like you hear that a lot. Or I don't know what I want to do. I'm thinking about going to law school.
Right.
You did it. You nailed law school, crushed it, loved it. Then went and did the whole giant, I assume it's a giant law firm. I actually don't know. The big time law firm. Yeah. Mercedes-Benz steak dinners law firm.
Right.
Presumably. And you stopped after 2.5 years.
Right.
So there's got to be a disconnect there.
Yeah. So it's hard to know like which part to describe it.
Feel free to trash them as hard as possible. I don't know much about libel, but I think you can
Yeah.
get away with it.
Right. Thanks. Well, yeah, put some disclaimers in here.
I have a question for you about libel coming up in a little bit. Just be prepared.
Okay. Great. Okay. So okay, so you read the philosophy of law stuff is like appellate work, like appeals. You get into that stuff when you get to like what is the law supposed to be, historically, what has it been, precedent, stare decisis, all this kind of stuff.
Right.
Day-to-day legal work, like at the trial level, is mostly like negotiation, settlement, mediation, right? The economics and which is fine, but it's not what I loved about law school. What I loved about law school was like the ideas and what's the right result based on what the law actually is. In litigation, which is what I did, and until you get up to like the Court of Appeals, you're not really talking about what the law is or says or does. Like that's important, kind of.
Okay.
But it's mostly getting the other side to agree to some reasonable settlement. It's like
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like, well, we can keep spending a bunch of money on legal fees, get to trial, get a judgment, appeal that judgment, and then we'll actually be talking about, the law. So that's general. I mean,
and is it one of those things like nobody actually wants to go to trial, nobody wants to take it to the judge and jury, that they're just like, let's just negotiate this now and call it quits?
Right.
Is that would you say that's most lawsuits?
Absolutely. Because
what percentage?
If you're 98% of lawsuits settle.
98. Okay.
98%.
I didn't realize.
Yeah.
So I think that's fascinating, because my two exposures to law and the court are whenever the Supreme Court does something, and the one time I got a traffic ticket, and I had to go, and I went in front of a judge, and I sat there and went, I just don't want the points on my license. And I thought it was like, I just had to go talk to like a clerk or something, and I'd be like, hey, can you jack it up an extra $100? That way I don't get points on my license. Turns out the cop's sitting across from me. He's talking about
you're the defendant.
Last
State
time
versus John Elordi.
The last time he calibrated my radar gun at 2:00, sir, and he sits back down. I was like, oh.
It's the real deal. You're in it now. You're in the system.
Yeah, I'm there. I paid the ticket. It's fine. I did not win at all.
Points on your license.
I got points on my license. So, but there's that in between where I'm just blind.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's what you did is actually closer to criminal law, which is
well, I committed a crime. So
you did. But probably a civil infraction technically. But
okay.
Yeah. Whatever. So you're
gross.
But criminal law I loved because you're actually dealing with like what the law should be, because people are least likely to settle for a criminal charge. Like let's say you and I are in a business dispute and I say you did this wrong thing and you say no, I didn't. We fight about it for a while. Eventually you're probably gonna be like, okay, fine, I'll give you some money so I don't have to pay my lawyer anymore. Or maybe you're really principled and you say, I'd rather pay my lawyer $50,000 than pay you a cent. Okay, fine, that happens.
That's a you thing to do.
Yeah, thanks. Sure, I accept that. But criminal law, like if you're charged with a crime that you did not do, you're going to take that to trial,
right?
Because you're not going to accept. Oh yeah, I guess I'll take a
whatever.
record.
I'll just do 6 months. It's fine.
Right? It's no big deal. I'll have a record the rest of my life.
Probation sounds really easy to navigate.
Not a big deal.
There's no trap in probation at all.
Right. It's going to be great. I'll love my PO. It's going to be fun.
Right.
So criminal law is much more that way, but civil litigation, but there's not a ton of it. So you're in civil litigation most of the time.
There's not much criminal law.
There's
crimes.
You don't get paid a whole lot.
Right.
People, big law firms don't like criminal law.
Rich people don't.
They don't. Well, there's white collar crime.
Yeah.
But then their money's locked up, and then you don't get paid, and it's a mess.
Right.
So, okay. So the thing I loved about law school, it's like, okay, I'm not really doing that. There's a whole component of my faith that I'll talk about, but this is just the general law stuff. You're billing hours.
Right.
So every 6 minutes, you bill by 0.1. So 6 minutes.
That's so specific. So I've billed
Yeah.
hours as a marketing consultant, but I went down to 15-minute levels every 0.25 hours.
Right.
That's wild.
No, we're at 6. You're at 0.1. So send an email. 0.1.
Can I ask you what your rate was? Your hourly rate?
It ascended every year. I think when I left, it was like $275 maybe.
Okay.
Nice. A year.
Mine was $190.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't see
partners.
Any of it.
No, partners bill out. It's like $675 an hour.
Oh, I bet.
Some partners.
Yeah.
I think $750 was the top, maybe.
Okay.
Sure. But, yeah. So you're billing all this time, and so you're constantly wondering, like, am I spending too much time on this? But you have these hours requirements that you have to meet. $1,750 a year. You're probably working 2,500 a year to meet that, if not more.
You can't fudge them.
Can't fudge them.
Because in marketing you can fudge them all the time. Like you'd be like, yeah, that's going to take me 3 hours, and then I do it in about 30 minutes, and then still charge 3 hours.
Yeah, that's illegal probably. So I mean, depends on your fee arrangement, but
yeah, I mean, a lot of it's like built-in kind of stuff. It's not purely hours worked. It's a lot of like built-in things.
Right. Anyways. Paying licenses for design, whatever. Yeah.
Yes, a lot of it. Right, exactly. A lot of those costs are built into that.
Yeah. So less of that in law firms, but so you're trying to bill hours. You have vacation time, and you want to take off 2 weeks. Well, that's a week, whatever. That's a week where you're not billing any hours, and now you're not trying to bill $1,750 over 52 weeks. You're trying to bill it over 50 weeks. And you take another week off, and suddenly your time to bill that, it's just miserable.
Yeah.
You run out of work. You have to go knock on doors of partners and say, hey, do you have any work that I can do?
Because I need hours. Yeah.
Right. You have to hope they like you enough, and it's like political. And
that's interesting.
Yeah. Terrible.
It is political, because at that point, if they don't like you, they'll screw you over, right?
Yeah, well, right.
They won't give you the hours, and then your review comes around. Hey, how come you don't have any hours?
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's so I had a kid. I got married my first summer of law school. Had a kid like 2 months after I started at the law firm.
Mm-hmm.
So immediately, I have other obligations and priorities.
Right.
You have like single or just young married associates. They don't have anything else to do, so they work all the time. Right. They get the work. I'm not gonna. I gotta take care of my kids. So
right, and that's the more important thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So there's all those like work life. This isn't what I thought it was going to be. And then in West Michigan, especially, heavy Christian culture, and Christians in litigation don't act any different than atheists in litigation. Maybe atheists are even nicer. I don't know.
Do you have a particular story? Sounds like you have a story.
Yeah, a couple stories, but in this one mediation, and our client is this old lady, and older lady. If you're watching this, no offense.
Okay. I lost her as a sponsor now too. Thanks.
Yeah, she's out. So it's a real estate dispute. It's overpaid rent or something.
Mm-hmm.
She sold the building. I don't remember. But at one point she looks at me and my co-counsel, and she's like, I want you to take this guy for everything he's got.
Okay.
Fighting, nasty.
Sure.
Didn't think we were really going to settle the mediation, and
sure.
We did end up settling it. And at the end, both parties looked at each other and said, I'm going to pray for you after this. Pray for you. It's weird. And then
both parties being the lady and the guy.
The opposing party.
Okay.
And then afterwards, we got a letter, basically proselytizing to us, like witnessing to us, and saying, I hope you know Jesus as your Lord and Savior. And if you don't, I'd love to talk to you about faith. It was kind of like, okay, that's good. Thanks. I appreciate that. But that was like the worst example of the Christian witness I've ever seen. Like, just a kind of, it wasn't even, it wasn't even like she looked at us and said, I want justice done or something like.
No, she was wrathful.
Yeah, right.
That's vengeance right there. Yeah.
Greed. Yeah. Spitefulness, anger, right. All kinds
of them.
And it's not,
pride,
okay. It's right. It's people sin, Christian sin. No
right.
problem. But there's a habit of Christians in litigation not taking seriously what it means to be a Christian in all things.
Sure.
And it's like, well, the faith is this nice thing over here, but we're doing litigation right now.
Right.
And even lawyers that I work with, professing Christians, didn't seem to think, and it's not my place to say, but from what I knew, there didn't seem to be any real, like, they weren't taking seriously what it might mean to be a Christian lawyer.
Right.
It was just, I'm a lawyer at work and I'm a Christian.
Sure.
Elsewhere. And it was, so West Michigan especially, it was like, I started to think, what does it mean to be a Christian lawyer? And do I want to be working in a place where you basically have to just do what your clients want? So that's when I made the move to a nonprofit.
Yeah. All right. I think that's a good reason.
Yeah.
I think that's, I think that's a really good reason. I think the corollary I can kind of pull from it is like, as a marketer, I worked for a marketing agency for a while. Luckily, none of our clients were, I feel like we had one client that was maybe questionable. But like if we had brought in like Planned Parenthood as a client,
right.
Like,
yeah.
John, we need you to do marketing for Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a problem, guys. Like,
right.
Yeah. Because I'm not helping them. I will not put my talents towards that. So I think that's fair. I think that's wise of you to do. I think that's the scary, bold move to make, right? Like, it would have been easier for you to kind of compartmentalize yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it was the most interesting thing to me about making the move is when I did it, I sent a resignation letter. It's kind of a practice in the firm. You like send it to this HR person and she sends it to everyone. You say thanks to everybody and whatever. Then when I said, I'm going to leave to go to a nonprofit that works in churches to help Christians be more faithful in conflict.
Yeah.
Like all the Christians came out of the woodwork in the firm. And it was like we've had a Bible study for the last, and I'm like, well, I didn't know it was a Bible study. And it was like, these people came and stopped in. It was like, some people were like, take me with you. Like, I gotta get out of this law firm. And I think it's a good firm. It's like a good firm. I had a great time with the people there. Like, it's
right.
As far as it goes, it's a good firm, but it was almost like there was this secret dissatisfaction.
Sure.
And it's not that secret. Like, lawyers have a high suicide rate and all this kind of stuff. But it was like all these people started to come out and it was like, this is great. I wish I could do what you're doing. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure you can.
You can.
You can.
You literally can. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, maybe they have
a weird reaction.
Maybe they have crazy debt. I don't know.
Yeah, golden handcuffs. I get it.
Sure,
right.
I get it. But like, you can. You should. Maybe you should. Was it relieving?
Right.
Was that like last day? Like, was it like a good last day? Like scary, but you feel clean.
The most relieving part was when I got the invitation to come over to the nonprofit where I'm working. The last day was really weird. Okay. Because there's all of the like relational. Yeah. I still liked people there. I have friends there. It was like, is there going to be like some kind of send off? And I was like, no, there wasn't.
There never is.
Yeah.
I've quit several jobs now, and you're in that last day, you're always just like, I wonder who's going to come up and say goodbye. And, there's all, and then like, it's never as many people as you think it's going to be. Like,
right. Yeah.
It's always like disappointing. Yeah.
I saw one guy in the parking lot. We worked together and I was like, I had like a box, and I'm like,
Yeah.
see, I'm like, does he even know I'm leaving?
They
Is he
couldn't
gonna
care less.
stop?
Yeah.
No, doesn't stop.
It's always revealing when you quit a job how much people don't care about you, like, or how much your coworkers don't care about you. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, so you used to bug me all the time when you needed the thing, but you've actually never cared for me as a person ever. Okay.
Yeah. It was, and I mean, you realize that you're maybe, even if you're friends with people, it's probably more situational. I still have some really good friends there, like I said,
Yeah.
that have hung on, but that's mostly because they were my age, like we went to law school together,
Right.
or whatever.
Right. You had a little bit more than just working together.
Yeah, right. And when you just work together, it's like haven't talked to them in
Yeah.
3 years.
That's all of the people I worked with at GM. I remember.
Yeah. Right.
I haven't spoken to any of them since. They're all older, so they don't really have LinkedIn's. I have no connection to any of them. And I remember the day my manager announced my resignation. And I was like, this is a big day. It's being announced. People are going to know.
Yeah.
People are going to know I was unhappy and I'm leaving. And he announces it. And then immediately afterwards, he announced that he himself is now switching teams to a different. So everyone on the team is getting a new manager. I can tell you right now, no one cared at all that I was leaving.
Right,
I got no goodbyes. I got no wow, that's big news. Everyone's like, who's going to be the new manager? Does this affect our? It was immediately like,
right.
Oh yeah, and John's leaving. Okay, it was It's like, I've been here 4 years with you people, and
4 years,
and you
did the command center. You were in this.
Yeah, and they did not care. It was such a lesson learned.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
There's not. I mean, and you realize. So I've obviously had coworkers leave places I've been working too.
Yeah.
And you kind of like, when I left, I thought back to when other people had left, and it was like, you don't really have time to think about, oh man, that person's not here anymore. I mean, it's like
you got work to do.
Yeah. You go talk to the next person who can help you now, because whatever. Yeah. So
it's very strange. Yeah. Do you think it's possible to be like a litigator or a lawyer as a Christian?
I still do litigation. Yeah.
Okay.
I still have practice on the side.
How often are you doing cases and stuff? I'm your second client, if I recall.
Yeah, I think that's right. I don't think
I keep you on retainer. Yeah.
Yes, it's very generous of me. The retainer.
Well, you have me on retainer as your marketer.
That's right. Yeah,
so,
yeah. I do need to set up that call.
Yeah, for like a month now. But okay.
I don't want to waste your time.
I appreciate that.
Yes, I think you can. So the hard thing is exactly what you said about being a marketer. You are the agent for your client.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, you can advise about what might be a good resolution here. But if you don't feel comfortable doing what they ask, you just you're out. You got to be out.
Right. Yeah, I think if you're working in an industry where your income is based on clients, the ability to turn away a client will save your soul. Like it is I think absolutely vital.
Yeah. So I've worked with great clients in my, but I don't have to. My practice doesn't. It's not my main work. So much more flexibility.
That's also true.
You can be more straightforward about if you're working with a Christian client, you don't have the firm sort of looming over you.
Sure.
And I think there's a lot of somehow criminal defense has gotten like this progressive vibe, like you hate justice. I don't understand.
Criminal defense?
Yeah.
Like criminal prosecution.
No, criminal defense has this progressive, like, what's his name? Not Noam Chomsky. He's like the creepy kind of
creepy
Alan
Dershowitz.
Yeah. He's like this. It's because the idea, the perception is if you defend criminals,
right,
you have no morals.
You don't care that they're guilty or not guilty. You're just there to get them off. Screw justice. Right.
Yeah. You think it's all okay.
But
But
like all okay, come on now. What like you
right,
also Brown v. Board, like isn't that I guess that wasn't criminal, but like that was
yeah,
the defense. Like they were suing. Like I
I'm not sure I see how
don't. Was
Brown
that
versus
not the
Board is
defense?
defensible.
When I think of like defense lawyers doing well, I imagine like a Denzel Washington movie. And
Right,
he's
right,
like a
yeah,
lawyer and he's like pleading his case and he's like, let this man go. He did nothing
right,
wrong.
yeah,
Like, I don't know. I feel like defense lawyers are damned if you do, damned if you don't, kind of, right? Like, yeah,
yeah,
you're the
and
scumbag, but
right,
you're sticking up for the little guy,
right. Well,
right?
you're
Your cousin Vinny. All right, there's the better one instead of
okay.
Brown
Sure,
v.
yeah,
Board.
yeah, right,
Cousin Vinny.
right.
Yeah.
Brown versus Board of Education is about segregation.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
But didn't yeah, they were suing the state. And I guess they weren't or they I guess it wasn't criminal. Yeah, anyways.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, so,
Well, what isn't it
so
wasn't well the NAACP, weren't they the defense? Because they
well,
were trying to because they intentionally broke the law to try and get schools integrated.
oh, as a defendant in a
Yeah,
criminal case, that
yeah.
may be. I don't know. That's a good question.
I'm sketchy on that one. I don't want to
Okay,
be
yeah,
quoted on it. I just
that's fine.
assumed that's how it went. That's definitely how Rosa Parks went, though.
Okay, sure, good
That's
example.
the
Yeah,
Rosa Parks
yeah,
case. Yes.
right, right. So yeah, but to me, it's a very conservative. You are protecting constitutional rights. Like
Right.
at the root, you're saying the Constitution matters. Cops have to abide by the Constitution.
Right.
Judges have to abide. Okay, it's a very, to me, a very conservative thing to do. I get that. I get the idea of you could let a guilty person go free,
Right.
but I think historically the founders would agree that a healthy society, it's better for an innocent person to go free than a guilty
Sure.
person to be behind bars, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So, so I don't even know where we were going with that.
Whether it's possible to be like a Christian
Yeah,
lawyer.
right,
Yeah.
right. So I think you can seek justice as a defense
Right. Oh,
attorney, but
I mean, isn't justice a virtue?
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
One of
do
them.
justice, love mercy, walk on.
Yeah.
But I think
Oh God. Yeah.
even in that world, you're going to hit a point where you have to recognize that it's your job to represent your client.
Right.
It's the judge's job to administer justice, and you're
Right.
participating in that.
Right.
But you can't go, here's my version of justice, judge. My
Yeah.
client's guilty. That's not your right. You're not.
That's weird. Yeah.
It's not your part of the body, so to speak, to play. So
Right.
anyway,
That's not your
yeah.
role. Yeah.
There
All
are
right.
there are moral. It's still a challenge, no matter what you do in the law. Yeah.
Right. I mean, and I think you could even make the case for arguing for a guilty defendant to make sure that they get a just punishment, right?
Right. Right.
Because,
Yeah.
like, if it's shoplifting, they don't deserve
Yeah.
10 years behind bars
Right.
or whatever. There's
Right.
justice. It's not just get people off; it's get people what is deserved.
Totally. And that was so when you start off in criminal defense, you do like DUIs.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as you say you defend DUIs, it's like, I can't believe you would defend
Yeah,
a
but
drunk
like,
driver.
yeah.
You're not going in there saying drunk driving's okay. You're shepherding them through the process to make
Right.
sure that they're treated fairly.
Right. Well, like to go back to my ticket incident.
Yeah. Right.
Courtroom's intimidating. You're going to
Yeah.
get screwed over
Right.
if you have no idea
Right.
what you're doing. Had I
Right.
had a lawyer next to me who was like, just don't talk right now, would have
Right.
been helpful. I would have
Right.
easily paid like a cheap lawyer $25. Just walk
Right.
with me
Right.
to make sure I don't make an ass of myself. Like, let alone if it were something serious like a DUI or worse.
Right.
Like,
Right.
so
Yeah.
so this actually leads me to another question I had. It's about the law and society in general.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a throwback. Do you remember that Making of a Murderer series?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That came out in 2015, 2016, right around there.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, your hometown,
Yeah.
your home
Yeah.
state.
Home state.
And that to me was eye-opening in that I saw, like, I remember the interrogation, right? There's that famous interrogation with like the cousin who's like clearly mentally handicapped in some way. And he clearly admits to something that he did not do.
Yeah.
And he has no idea what he just said.
Right.
The cops are pressuring him. It's brutal. And then they cut to that phone call afterwards. Like, when am I getting out? I just want to watch WrestleMania. He has no idea that he just got himself on a murder charge. Like,
Right.
and he's never getting out. And it's So I guess it was so eye-opening to me on how screwed over poor people are, or not even
Okay.
poor people, but like naive
Right.
people, which happen to
Right.
be mostly lower income people.
Yeah.
What, uh, in terms of like justice and everything, like isn't that kind of a flaw in our legal system? Is that like, I guess it seems like justice is doled out unfairly depending on how much money you have. My other
Right.
example
Right.
is libel, right?
Okay.
Only rich people can sue someone for libel. Like if the New York Times said something libelous about me, unless I
Yeah.
have a rich backer, I'm not getting my name fixed. I'm
Right.
not getting,
Yeah.
that's not getting fixed. So it does feel like, and I don't have a solution. I just kind of want your opinion on this. As a
Yeah.
Christian,
Yeah.
as someone I
Right.
respect, as a smart person, I do. It seems like there is some validity to that claim that like low income, naive people will get chewed up and screwed over by this system.
Right. So, yes, I think there is truth to that because um, successful people, successful lawyers charge a lot of money,
Right.
just like successful marketing firms charge a
Oh,
lot of money.
absolutely. I'm not blaming anybody.
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
It seems to be this is the nature of the beast at the moment.
Right. Right. So, um, the difference is, uh, I believe that our pellet system solves for a lot of that. Even if our trial court system doesn't.
Can you explain
But
that difference? Because I don't know what that is.
yeah, so okay, so uh, we had a client, and it's public record, so I can name names and everything. Rakisa Gilbert.
Okay.
She was charged with identity theft, and the whole crime essentially was she bought a list of credit cards, list of stolen credit cards from China. Well, she didn't do it; somebody else did, but
Sure.
she's part of this whole thing. Um, uh, then somebody in the whole scheme steals a stack of like Visa Vanilla gift cards from Meyer or whatever. Doesn't activate them, so now you have these credit cards that can be they have a magnetic strip that can be reprogrammed with stolen credit card numbers.
Oh, interesting.
So now you have a stack of apparently um, uh, they're not. It's not suspicious. They just look like Visa Vanilla cards, but they're drawing on somebody else's credit cards, and so you can charge a lot of money. So the scheme was go into a gas station, swipe the cards, buy cigarettes in like I want to say Missouri, maybe. Drive them. I don't know why this was the scheme. Drive them back to like Michigan and sell them for a higher price.
Okay.
Why they don't just buy valuable stuff with the credit cards, I don't know. But this is the whole scheme. Stolen credit card, cigarettes, so a bunch of crimes in there.
Sure. Interstate commerce. Yeah.
Interstate commerce.
Is that a federal crime now?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because they
So
crossed the line.
we're in federal court. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So one of the charges was aggravated identity theft,
Okay.
and the standard was uh, you have to know that you are stealing someone's identity in the commission of a crime.
Okay.
And arguably you have to know whose identity you're stealing.
Oh, but if you just bought a list from China.
Yeah. That's what makes it aggravated.
Sure.
And so she gets convicted at the trial court level, trial court being the first level. She gets convicted at the first level. It gets appealed to the next level up. And then eventually ends up in the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals. So now we're in the appellate court where you're no longer doing like evidence and you're not doing interviews. There's the record is set, so the evidence is set. You're going up to the court to say, did they get the legal questions right?
Gotcha.
And so I get to argue this case at the Sixth Circuit.
Cool.
I get to argue that it was not aggravated identity theft for all these reasons. Amazing experience, unbelievable courtroom. This was like
the Sixth was on that's like that's the Chicago one.
That was Cincinnati.
That's one of the bigger ones. A lot of the like Supreme Court justices come out of the Sixth, I feel like.
Yeah, and go up to So amazing experience. but so because you're now doing federal criminal defense, which is a big deal, especially at the Sixth Circuit,
Right.
you're getting really good representation.
Right.
Not that I was the best, but some of the best criminal defense lawyers at my firm were on this case,
Right.
and then let me argue it orally do the oral argument.
Right.
So let's say I don't know who she used, but let's say she used a public defender at the trial court.
Okay.
Definitely a disadvantage. They're overworked, don't have enough time, not paid enough.
Right.
Typically, you don't do well in law school and then become a public defender.
Sure.
So yes, probably treated unfairly, because the more money you have, the better lawyer you get. But the appellate system fixes some of that, because it does get taken very seriously, and you do get good representation at that level to make sure they've gotten it right.
So did that mean she got a new public defender who was for the Sixth Circuit, who was good? Because to be a public defender there,
is us. Yeah.
How'd she pay for you guys?
It's called the CPJ. What is it? CJ panel, criminal some panel that the federal court appoints people to a panel of attorneys that they assign cases, and they say, hey, would you handle this?
Gotcha.
Would you handle this case?
Is that pro bono work you guys do for the government then?
I think you get paid a little bit, maybe.
Okay. All right.
But it's basically,
she doesn't pay you guys though.
Right.
Okay.
She's not paying for it.
Okay.
But you're getting typically really good representation. Now we lost at the Sixth Circuit. So
sorry.
That's next. But it was mostly because there's a hard argument to make. But it's not. I don't think it's because of lack of good representation, like our firm.
No, right? You were one of the best law firms in Grand Rapids, presumably state of Michigan. Right. Yeah.
Right. So, so I do think there's a problem. I'm not sure there's ever a fix. Like you said, there's always a market, right?
Yeah, and I'm not proposing a fix.
Yeah.
But I do think this is something conservatives are blind to, or are like, it's okay for us to agree that like our court system, it disadvantages lower income people and naive people.
Yeah. I think it's hard to say that, because I think it makes it sound like the system has some kind of intention in doing that, like judges,
right? It makes the system seem evil, but like, I mean, I saw that interrogation of the kid, man. I don't what were those cops doing if not marching pretty dang close to that line of like evil? Like, what are you getting at here? Like, I understand you want to find. I mean, I guess it is a murder case. They want to find the murderer for justice for the woman, but are you finding the murderer? Or are you finding someone who's willing to agree that they're the murderer? You know?
Yeah. Well, I think I'm admittedly biased, but I do think the court system does a better job than the criminal, than the police system.
And that definitely seems to be the case. I'm not.
Yeah.
I think that the way you explained it, that makes complete sense, and I buy that. But I have to imagine most civil infractions are done at the police, criminal, that lower level.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah, and there's, if you don't get a lawyer, you get there's only one side of the argument, and it is the cop, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And what's some hillbilly going to do up against a cop, right? Like, I work in branding. I can tell you right now, the uniform looks better than whatever that guy's got in his closet. Like,
right. Yeah, and so as you know, I'm a huge critic of critical theory, and this idea that power systems define. I think critical theory can help us recognize, there's all these claims of inherent oppression, which I reject, but it can help us recognize oppression that we might otherwise not see. Like, okay, what is happening psychologically, societally, sociologically in the conversation between the cop, who has power and influence and psychological techniques, and the disadvantaged, intimidation, and the disadvantaged teen who's admitting to something. I mean, you can, there is a power structure there that we can see. right?
Yeah.
That, it doesn't mean all this other stuff that critical theorists like to
No,
do, but
I mean,
yeah,
to equate all power dynamics to critical theory, I think is like
yeah,
sometimes people have
right, right,
power over you, or like
yeah,
it can be
right, right,
psychological. It can be just, you know, the cops generally tend to be muscular. All right. They've got
right,
a literal power advantage over a teenager, right? Like they're just
yeah,
stronger. Like,
right, right,
so it, there's that dynamic there.
yeah, yeah, and I think there's this baby out with the bathwater thing that when conservatives at their worst aren't being nuanced, it's like, no, like blue, thin blue line or whatever. It's like, well, they're doing identity politics, like
Right.
conservatives
Right.
who say all cops good, all criminals bad, or
Right.
all minorities bad, or all whatever.
Right. It's collectivism.
You're right. They're just doing the
Yeah.
same thing of that they don't like.
Right.
You know.
That's, yeah. And I mean, I'm not a big fan of the cops.
Yeah.
What, I mean, I think, so here, I'm gonna get a little radical. All right. But I want
All
your
right. Here
take
we
on
go.
it because
Yeah.
it involves you. I think the appropriate way to understand the cops, or I don't know if this is the appropriate way, but a way that will be beneficial to you, the average citizen, is to view the police as like an occupying force, right?
Okay.
They are the government. Like imagine, not imagine they are uh, the soldiers of an army that has invaded you. They're there to occupy the force, make sure that nothing bad happens in the place. Keep peace, keep the rebellion down.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a situation like that, your best bet is to be like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm not going to mess with you because, you're an enemy. You feel like you're in enemy territory, all this stuff. I think, while that's not necessarily the case, I think that analogy is a useful kind of system for understanding it. And then if you want me to go
Yeah.
full radical, I could say that the cops are the enforcement wing of a regime controlling its people.
Right. Right. Right.
Uh,
Right.
I'm not willing
A
to go that
regi-
far, but I know people who are.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. What are they occupying?
America.
The cops are occupying America.
Again, I'm not saying this
Yeah.
literally. I'm saying this
Yeah. Yeah.
as a framework.
Right. 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 Right.
But like as a lawyer, would you say like that's not the worst way to interact? Like if you treated the cops like they were that way, you'd probably be better off.
Say it one more time. Like the general framework.
The general framework is to treat the police like they are an occupying army. So they have conquered your lands. Like imagine, so put yourself in Afghanistan. You live in an Afghan town. Everything's normal. One day the Americans come in, and you have a new ruler, new laws, everything's in flux. Your little shop is fine. It really hasn't changed. Like your day-to-day life has changed in that there's soldiers around, but theoretically there's just a new occupying force. But now the American soldiers are kind of policing things. It would behoove you to treat them with respect, to treat them as that occupying force, to understand that they are in a foreign land, that they are under assault, that they are probably a little on edge, right? All of the things that would come with that, all the psychological stuff, all the fact that they are not of you, right? They're not like, you probably look a little different, that those psychological things kind of play into it. I think having that mentality towards police officers, while that is not the case in America, is a beneficial way to treat police officers as a citizen in terms of like if you get pulled over or if you have an interaction with the police. I think that framework it'll save you trouble.
I think yes, but only if you, in the occupying force example, if you know very well your rights as a citizen living under an occupying force, like
but you don't.
because right, and that's why I think it breaks down because because I do believe in the judicial system.
Mm-hmm.
I think to treat the executive branch, the police force, as a sort of a force outside of a system of control, I think is probably a few steps too far.
Okay.
Like I think you should in what you're describing, I think you should think of cops as, you have to recognize that they have certain interests that you don't have. They have certain, in sometimes it's better to protect you, and in sometimes it's better to protect the
Right.
person that
Their incentives are murky.
They're different. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I think in those respects, yeah, you should be aware of how you actually relate to police. But in another sense, I think you have to know what rules police have to live within.
Sure. Now, I agree.
Yeah.
They should have rules they have to live within.
Yeah.
But I think so. The whole point, I guess, my thinking with this thought exercise is like, say I don't want to learn the rules. Like I don't want to
Right.
Google things I shouldn't worry about when a cop pulls me over. Like I'm sure
Yeah.
there's a whole thing. If I just operate like this is an invader who in this moment has power. Essentially, when you're pulled over by the police, I would argue they have essentially supreme power over you, right? That supreme power is a weird phrasing, but like, what does that even mean? But like, I don't know. But my point is like, it's their decision whether or not you have a very bad day or just
Right.
a quick little nuisance, right? Like they have that power in their hands.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean,
it seems like you should give them a ton of leeway, but also never let them search your car.
right. I think if you don't know and they ask you to do something,
Yeah.
I would always say, I don't consent. No, I don't consent to that.
Okay.
If you're going to do it anyway, I will not interfere.
Okay.
Something like that.
That's good to know.
Right. Because you if they have a lawful
right. Because you don't know. I don't know what right. Because isn't there something with like the glove compartment? Can they go? They can only go into a glove compartment if it's unlocked or something weird like that.
Honestly, I don't know. It changes so often.
Right.
What is invisible? What's visible? What isn't?
Right.
Tinted windows. I don't know.
Yeah.
Rolled down, not rolled. What?
Trunk. All that stuff. Who knows?
Right. Right. It changes a lot. So I don't even, if I got pulled over and the question was, does the cop have the right to look at something based on probable cause? I would not know the answer in some cases. So I would always deny, because if you do consent, you give them a lot of rights that they don't otherwise have.
Right.
So you don't want to be.
It's like why you never invite them in your house. You always say, "We wait right here. You're not welcome in here."
Yeah, right.
Like and if they say, you explicitly say you're not welcome in my house, because even if you like, isn't it something like if you like gesture them in, theoretically that's an invitation?
Yeah, right. I mean, you're at least giving them an argument.
Right.
If they did find evidence to hold against you, you're giving them argument that you consented to a search. So I think you always want to make clear that you're not consenting, and if they do it anyway,
right,
you also don't want to be interfering.
Oh yeah,
somehow.
Yeah. So you would say, I do not consent to that, but if you're going to do it anyways, I will not interfere.
I think something like that. Yeah. I mean, because if I don't see how that could be read as consent. Sure. I don't see how they could say, "Oh, I thought he meant it was okay." I mean, if you expressly say that, So I think that's what I would say if I was in some trouble or something. I didn't.
Okay. I think that's really good. I like that. Yeah. That's something I've thought about. It's like I get pulled over and they want to search my car, and it's like I vaguely remember in high school they said don't let the cops search your car, but I also know the cop's got a gun and I don't. Also, if I do like this too much, he now has reasons to shoot me. Like
sure, yeah.
So it's the to go back to that power dynamic, it skews in their favor in that situation.
Yeah, and the mistake most people make is thinking the cop does have the right to do it.
Right. But that's the naiveness I speak to. Like, I think it's naiveness and like you open yourself up to something. Right. They pulled you over for speeding. They search your car and they find a prescription bottle that was your mom's that she left in there, but it's Xanax or whatever. Sure. Now you're in trouble. Right. Now your day just got worse and you didn't do anything.
Yeah. And if they say, if you come in with the assumption they would only ask to search my car because they already have the right to, you're way off. Right.
Right. That's it. That's the naiveness of it. Yeah.
They're looking for the consent. And if you have something to worry about, or even if you don't, you may not want to give it. But it's tricky. I mean, so one one example that always sticks with me. This guy, unclear what happened to get to this point, but this guy is in his own driveway with the car running and a bunch of empty beer cans in his car, and he's drunk. So the question is like, how did he get there?
Right.
Is that enough that he was driving? And
I've heard that story that, like, you know, someone's drunk at the bar. They say, I don't want to drive home. I'm going to sleep it off in my car.
Yeah.
Cops show up. They find him drunk in their car. Things get messy. Right.
Are you on the roadway? Are you, all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm too drunk now. I'm just going to pull over and sleep this off. Prudent move. You made the right decision, I guess, once you got to that point.
Right.
But, like, you know, it's it's questionable now. Like, it's you've opened yourself up to a big problem.
Yeah, right. I mean, don't drink and drive, I guess, is the easy answer. But
should you take the breathalyzer?
That's another good one.
I don't know. I've often thought about, like, I'm not going to take it, but then your license gets suspended, I think, automatically, which seems I don't know how I feel about that one.
Yeah, in Michigan, we are called an implied consent state, where by driving you implicitly consent to a breathalyzer.
How is that legal?
Yeah.
Come on now. This is where I come to question the Constitution. All right.
Right.
Okay. Oh, Constitution's so great on that one.
So I don't remember how it works. It's something like, if you, I haven't done this in a while, but it's something like, if you deny the breathalyzer on the road, you get a ticket.
Okay.
The PBT, the preliminary breath test, which is the typical breathalyzer.
Right.
If you deny the chemical blood alcohol
blood test.
Yeah. Or the one, like a more intense machine at the police station.
Yeah, they have to take you into that one.
Then you get your license suspended if you deny that one. Something like that.
Which seems better than a DUI in every situation.
Right. Yeah. Right. But they're good. But the thing is, if they have probable cause or DUI, you're getting taken in anyway, and they'll get a warrant for the blood test, and then
I mean, like, if you're slurring your words, like, you're probably a goner. But if I think if you're borderline, probably best to deny it and hope for the best.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, but it's tricky. I mean, there's never any easy answers.
Okay. Yeah. That's why there's lawyers. That's why the profession exists. Yeah.
That's why we're here.
That's why you bill at $800 an hour.
Right.
Answer hard questions. Yeah.
We're here for you.
Yeah. To execute justice.
To uphold justice.
Justice. Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Alrighty, Clint. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you for being the inaugural guest on my show.
Yeah,
we talked Protestantism versus Catholicism, weird libertarian questions about morality that I didn't quite understand and answered poorly. I learned a lot about the year 1492.
That's right.
I'm so embarrassed.
And 1517, double whammy.
And 1517. I'm not going to remember 1517.
Yeah.
That's a weird number. I'm not going to get that one.
It's not great.
So it was a good talk. I appreciate you coming. Yeah. Do you want to plug your nonprofit? I can't guarantee viewers, but I got maybe a Christian base that might be actually interested in what you're hawking these days to these poor churches. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Oh wow.
You and your
good intro.
The snake oil you sell to these pastors.
It's called the.
I lost another. My sponsorship was gone. Yeah. Dang it.
Yeah.
It's only Raytheon.
Is that 5? Sponsors?
I've lost a lot of sponsors this show.
Wow. We are called the Colossian Forum. Colossians is a book in the Bible. Hard for Catholics. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Colossian Forum. We help churches deal with conflicts more faithfully. So it's a pretty direct. It's like the opposite of what my concern. People and lawyers aren't acting Christian in conflict. This is like the direct answer to, we should be acting Christian in conflict. Here's how we can do it better. Let's do it.
So is it
more faithfully
an education program for ministers, or is it like counseling?
We have two sort of things going on. One is like a small group curriculum. So you say, okay, our church doesn't know how to talk about politics or evolution or sexuality. You get people together to talk about it, use this curriculum. The other thing is a sort of training program for peer counselors where you've got a problem in the church. I disagree with the pastor. I disagree with this person. We've got this societal issue, and you can come to that person to have a conversation about how to be faithful in a really difficult spot in your life. So that's a training program.
Do you get like certificates and that whole deal?
That one's very new, so we will have a certification program.
As a marketer, I should give out certifications.
Certificates, maybe little like emblems, notarized kind of. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, make it look good.
Sure.
Yeah, people like to win things or earn things.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, you become you call the weight. You call the weight. Yeah.
And then what? All denominations, only Protestant, only Catholics, only Eastern Orthodox.
All denominations.
Muslims.
That's right. Strictly Eastern Orthodox.
Strictly. Oh man. Well, they have the beards.
We are. That's our market. We've said we're going to specialize. It's important to specialize.
They're popping these days. Okay, so all denominations.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Where do they find you again?
ColossianForum.org. COLOSSIANFORUM.org. New program's called Wayfinders. Helps you find your way. So that's what we're rolling out this year.
Awesome. Thank you, Clint. Appreciate you taking this time and stepping away from your children and very pregnant wife.
I gotta go.
They're probably fine. Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see in the morning, I guess. Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna end the show now.
Thanks, John.